Good morning and welcome to Angeles City. So today's walk we're going to continue exploring the neighbourhood. I am starting on this street, Mount Arayat Street. So Mount Arayat you can perhaps see from this street. I'm not sure if you can. Let me go back and have a look. I think you can, you know. I think it's the mountain that's poking up at the back. And then a lot of places in Angeles you can see Mount Arayat. It sort of stands out in the skyline towards the east. Mount Arayat, yeah, so we're starting on Mount Arayat Street, about halfway through the neighbourhood, because yesterday I didn't want to repeat the walk that we did yesterday. So yeah, Mount Arayat is a extinct volcano. So a lot of the places around here are named after famous places in the Philippines. I've noticed some of the streets are named after famous places. So let's have a look, see what's going on down Mount Arayat Street. This is a bit further down in the neighbourhood, so we're going a bit further away. Yesterday we were sort of very local, and this area is a little bit further away, but we're heading towards the apartment we stayed at back in 2020, 2021, during the pandemic, which we rented for under £100. And based on today's exchange rate, 6,500 peso, which is less than garbage collection in the UK. So it's effectively like owning your own home. So you can live cheaply here if you want. I've seen people saying don't come unless you've got X amount of income, don't come unless you've got this and that. If you know what you're doing, you obviously going to need to spend some money. Like you have, but you can make that figure very low if you wanted to, like starting with the rent. Yeah, if you've got a low budget and you're starting with the rent, like we have, we've got a low budget, but we finance the rent for a year while we get our sort of online income up and going. I'm going to be teaching online physics. I'm a physics teacher, also going to be doing English teaching, but the amount of income that you have, morning. The amount of income that you get, I know where we are. We're at the bottom of Mount Pinatubo Street. So now we've come to the end of Mount Arayat Street, and we're coming to the bottom of Mount Pinatubo Street, which is another volcano. This one is not extinct. This one is active, and it erupted back in 1991, and the ash fallout just buried Angeles. And you see these famous pictures that people have circulated of the eruption, and the place is just covered in ash. Car in the way there. That is, there's a little mini subdivision down there. I'm going to go this way though, up Mount Pinatubo Street. I wasn't here back in 1991. I first visited Angeles back in, must have been back in 2016, 2017. So a long time after that earthquake, and you see the photos of how much it's changing. It is always changing, like anywhere. I mean, hopefully for the better. Like this road, for example. Last time I was here, I don't remember it looking like this. But this is freshly tarmacked, so nice and smooth. So not a major change to have a tarmacked road, but still a change nonetheless. And then there's still empty lots. You can see there a massive house at the back, which is strange looking because it looked like it was built as a mansion and then kind of like stopped halfway through. Nice houses on this side. There was a lot of rain last night, as you can see. There's still water on the ground. A lot of water about. I could hear it pounding on the roof last night. It was raining a long time. But it's not raining now, so that's good for me. There is that is Yosefaville. A rice store there, Yosefaville, and I'm probably not pronouncing that right, but that is some kind of subdivision in there. Look, it's security, it's gated. There's a security guard there. There's a gardener out and about, but I did have a look on the map, and I think I've done this before. I think that connects through to the next neighbourhood, Claradel 2. I think you can get through by entering through the back of that, which doesn't sound right, does it? Because if it's a gated compound. Anyway, that's one we're going to explore later. There's a nice bakery over there. And it looks like there's a dentist, but yeah. Here is, I think, an MC, motorbike club. Looks like. I think they're pretty friendly there. I've walked past there before. Ice candy for sale, peso 15 only. Aha. Now, this one is interesting. I'd love to know how much that costs, because I remember my friend stayed here back in the day, long time ago he stayed it, and he said these places are alright. It looks like you're getting up and down for the ones at the front. They'd be more expensive. Perhaps the ones at the back are smaller. Need to take screenshots of these to get updated prices. House and lot for sale, so that one's for sale. They're also selling xiao mai, xiao pao, and coffee in there. So looks like that is my type of coffee shop. Very local. Maybe I can come and check that out. Yeah, it was raining a lot last night, but obviously you get the benefits from that. Morning. benefits of that being that it's a lot cooler, and I don't mind walking around when it's cooler. Once you get past 10 a.m, that's when you want to be indoors. What is going on there? Veterans helping veterans. Okay, I don't know what that is. Ah, that's part of it. Oh, so that's veterans helping veterans. No thanks. Morning though. Okay, so yeah, it looks like there's some veterans helping veterans there, and veterans helping veterans there. It looks like this is a business, and it perhaps helps US military veterans understand and apply for VA disability and other veterans benefits. Given Angeles City's long connection with Clark Air Base and the large American expat community here, it makes sense that these are specialist businesses like this. So that is veterans helping veterans. And then over here we've got, this is new. Yeah, this has been up a couple of years, a massive shore stay studio by Best Western. So real estate round here is, you know, cheap still. And they obviously thought, right, we'll throw up a massive hotel and they're going to make money on that. And then here we've got VFW. This is a great restaurant. And the VFW stands for Veterans of Foreign Wars. So yeah, this is basically another establishment that has connections to when Clark was an American US military base. It was one of the largest ones, I understand, outside the US. So a lot of American veterans chose to retire around here, and I guess the place, there's still some legacy of that around here. This we had Christmas dinner at here last year. The food is decent, reasonably priced. Yeah, it's nice to pop in there. You don't have to be a veteran of a foreign war to eat there. Sometimes it's known as Post 2485, which is a nod to the airbase, I understand. Okay, let's take a walk down here. In fact, I'm just going to double back because I want to show you my place. Morning. The veterans helping veterans. So Malabanias Integrated School, yeah, that's right, I used to live right next to that. So we did stay there for about a year, but I think many months of that we actually went to the UK. So even though we rented it for a full year, we ended up going back to the UK in the pandemic. But yeah, it's worth checking out. There's a lot of places. A lot of these places have signs on. If I was looking to rent, well, what I do, you can look on Facebook Marketplace, depending on your budget, of course. If you've got unlimited budget, you don't need to shop around for a bargain. You can just go to the, you know, your big condo towers down near Walking Street. But if you are looking for a bit of a bargain, check out Facebook Marketplace, find out the area. I always rent a scooter, ride around the area where I like. This is one of those areas. Again, this particular street, this was a 6,500 place. So, you know, this is not going to be your high class, smelling like roses area. You have to take it with a pinch of salt, but it's also not that bad. It's pretty nice. It is this place. I honestly can't remember the name of this street. Hopefully it's written on that side. Oh yeah, Macopa Street, that's right, Macopa Street. And there's a couple of saris. Yeah, it's several houses, but you can see that it ain't too bad in there for the money. I think there's about 5 apartments on the road. Obviously, we can't look inside. But yeah. I am going to carry on down here and see where it takes me. So this is the integrated high school. I don't know anything about Philippines education, even though I'm a teacher. But this looks like a big school with dormitories, perhaps. Yeah, it must have a big population, this one. Yeah, it looks like a lovely school, to be fair. Yeah, it looks awesome, that school. And then I think when the kids are out, kids are in, when they wake up, so then there'll be like little snack shops along here. Be a bit more bustling. That is half a jeepney. I think you can pick those up pretty cheap. And then if you wanted a cheap transport, I'm not sure how much they cost, but I'm going to look into that. I see. Okay. Look, they have a I love it MLS there. So I'm assuming that's the name of the school. Oh, MIS, Malabanias Integrated School. Okay. Nice. Looks like a lovely school, that. There are a few international schools in Clark, in Anglers Clark. I don't know where they are though. But if they were looking for a teacher, I could potentially offer my services, but I'm committed to going online for this coming year. And I wouldn't expect the salaries to be particularly good. And the workload would be high, so you can't get a low workload, as don't exist as a teacher. School supplies. Yeah, so it's pretty obvious once you get past that Best Western or Studio Suites by Best Western, you can see it like, how to say that, the economy of the affluence of the area deteriorates slightly. And and obviously the rents go down as a result. But if people are saying you can't come here and you have to have X amount of money, you can come here. And you do need X amount of money, but that X might not be as high as what people are saying. If you're willing to live cheaply. You know, long term you're going to need an income, but you don't need a lot. Right, this is where I'm not sure which way to go. I think we're going to go up here. I'm hoping we can find the Clarkton Hotel. Is it up here, or is it? I think I'm going to carry on down here. No, I think it was back that way. It looks like a dead end to me. I don't want to walk down there. Yeah, if you ride around on a motorbike, you can see everywhere has these rooms for rent. You just bang on the door. How much? Saturday morning, people are starting to get out and about. So yeah, if I head up towards the Clarkton, that's a famous landmark in Angeles City. That's been around forever. Nice little car in the air there. Morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, and this is Ilang Street, just a side street. We're heading up to Don Hueco. From what I understand, Ilang is the name of a flower, and it's used to make some famous perfumes. It's native to the Philippines. So yeah, we're heading up towards Don Hueco, which is that main road that runs through, runs along the north side there of Angeles City. Morning. It's a busy route linking Clark Freeport with the Hotel District and SM City Clark. So yeah, it runs from Clark Main Gate all the way down to Walking Street. I don't know if it carries on further than that towards Marquee Walk. May do. Yep, may do. But yeah, it tends to get pretty busy on Don Hueco Street. It's not ideal for walking. Like, these side streets are lovely. Yeah, I love it when you've got these sari stores on every corner, and corindier. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right, but they're the little food stores where they cook it in pots and then and then they serve it. I suppose you call that I don't know, is it like cafeteria or buffet type stuff? Yeah, and you get like a portion from the pot. That was an Aerog, so I really want to get one of those because we need to buy a motorbike. that's what motorbikes tend to hold their value quite well. Oh, that one. That apartment there looks pretty nice. Yeah, it's hard to find a cheap motorbike. Obviously, the cheaper you go, you know, the more risks you're attaching to it. Morning. And here we are. On Waco Street. The famous Clarkton Hotel. I've never actually stayed here, but it is reasonably priced. They do have a massive swimming pool out the back. I think it's one of the longest established foreign managed hotels in Angeles City. I think it's under German management. So I believe there is a German restaurant in there. Yeah, so it's one of the popular destinations. And then you can see a picture of what it looks like out the back. I mean, that's obviously not a photo, that's an artist's interpretation. But same layout. Morning. How are you?
Good, sir. You're vlogging, sir?
Yeah.
What's your page?
Sorry?
Your page?
It's called Steps in Our Shoes. But we do. Okay, so new subscriber, hopefully. I don't know, the channel's in its infancy, so I don't know, it feels a bit embarrassing when they say, what's your channel? And you've got like 4 subscribers. Club Castle. So yeah, that was the Clarkton. It's nice when people are interested and they want to talk to you. So yeah, I've given that guy the channel name. Hopefully he's going to see himself on camera. This is the side gate to Clark, Freeport zone. And the main gate is back behind me if you carry on down there. And you can get to SM Mall, SM Clark from in there, and it's a bit quieter than going down the Don Waco Road. PTT station here. Oh, there's a dim sum. Getting dumplings there. Opens at 7. I wonder if that's PM. Okay, so Mother's Dim Sum House. That's where we can get our Chinese grub from. A lot of bars. Chinese restaurant here as well. That's good that there's more Chinese businesses popping up. Doesn't look like this one is running. It looks like it's out of business. If that was the Chinese restaurant. Nice to have a walk around. The air is really fresh at the moment. so it feels good to be back in Angeles. Yeah, so we've got to try and sort the motorbike as soon as possible. I'm currently renting a Honda Airblade, which is a little scooter. I think it's a 150. I'm renting it from Nice Bike. It's costing me 3,500 peso a week. So not a huge amount of money, but obviously when you're on savings, you want to reduce the burn. Try and purchase a motorbike. I'd like to get an Aerox. An Aerox is, I've had one before. I obviously want to get a bigger motorbike than an Aerox, but I'm thinking at this time there's sorry, there's something going on there. Yeah, so at this time I'm not going to go and get a bunch of motorbikes, so just get what we need at the moment. An Aerox suits me, got big wheels, nice engine. But yeah, it's not easy to find a bargain. I think I'll be looking at around 85,000, which is about £1,000, a little bit more for a reasonable one. And then I think new, you're looking at, if you want to get it new, which isn't that easy, of course, you're looking at a lot more than that. I think it's 135,000. I was in RevZone the other day, but it was complicated. They were saying you have to order it. It takes a long time. You have to get approved. Yeah, so we're just heading down this side street, and that's back to where we used to live on Pinatubo Street. And I think I'm going to call it a day when we get to the end for this walk. Not quite at Pinatubo Street. Pinatubo Street is at the end. I'm going to take a left, and I'm going to end it at VFW. Maybe pop in and have a coffee. Yeah, the good thing about a motorbike is because they hold their value. You can recoup most of it back. I remember last time I was here, I did buy an Aerox second hand. It was about 3 years old at the time, and I bought it for I think 85 and sold it a year later for 75. So, you know, that was less than 1,000 peso a month. It worked out. So yeah, they really hold their value. Maybe there's a slightly greater depreciation from like brand new to like second hand. Sometimes they go up in value because of all the registration that needs doing. Sometimes it's, you know, when there's a high demand, it's easier to get one second hand, so there's more demand for a second hand one that's been registered than there is for a brand new one that's going to take a while to get sorted. But yeah, you do need a motorbike license, and it's a funny story because we're back at VFW, but my scooter's a little bit further, so I might as well keep talking. Yeah, I won't stop for a coffee today. I'll have one when I get home. Yeah, it's a funny story because you are meant to have a driver's license. Now, I think a foreign driver's license works for the first 3 months you're here. You know, if you have a foreign motorbike license, that's accepted by the police for the first 3 months, and you can rent with one of those. But then if you're staying long term, you're meant to convert that to a Philippine driver's license, and there's a whole process. I don't remember it being too difficult, but there is a process. And I, at the time, only had a UK driving license, and it didn't have the full motorbike license on it. I didn't have a motorbike license, but the year of my driving license, for some reason, there was a trike option on there. So when they drew the trike on the back, it looks like a motorbike. So they thought that my license was also a motorbike license, and they issued me a car and motorbike license when they did the conversion. So I then went back to the UK, and I've done my full motorbike license now. So I do have the motorbike license, but I had my Filipino one before I even had it. I've only been stopped by the police a couple of times, and I've always had the right documentation. So I don't know what happens. I think you get fined if you've not got the right, depending on if you don't have the right documents. I don't think it's extreme. But there are a lot of police out these days because they're stopping people who are not wearing helmets. And then I suppose if they ask for your license, if you're not wearing a helmet, then you're compounded. You're gonna have 2 fines. This is Tamarind Street. Trying to remember where I parked my bike. Oh yeah, I did park it a bit further down there. So I'll just stop. Want to get to the end. How are we doing for time? Got to take my wife to her class. Morning. Yeah, it's not the nicest street, but back there's a really nice, I didn't point it out, but back there was a Red Doors. And that Red Doors is I think it's in the top 4 or top 5 budget hotels in Angeles. It only costs, for the room that they put on the internet, it only costs about £10 a night. So £10 a night, that's times 80, that's 800 at the moment. I'm guessing it's 800 to 1,000 pesos, something like that. And it's clean, it's sort of family run. You can't go wrong, bang for your buck if you want a place to stay for around £10 a night, £10, £11, I don't know how much it is on today's exchange rate. You can't go wrong staying there. We walked in and we were like a bit disappointed with the bathroom. Bathroom looks a bit tatty, but when you get used to it, then you start to appreciate it. It is a family sort of local place, but the shared areas, the shared spaces are nice and clean and tidy. Lots of books, a lot of character in there. So yeah, it's a good option, that one. I think they have a bar there. It's called Blue Boar Inn. I don't think it's that popular. but they do have a pool table in there. I don't know whether they have a pool team, because there is a pool league that runs in Angeles City. I don't know if they have a pool team or not, or if it's particularly active. We didn't explore it in great detail. But yeah, that's one decent hotel, top 5 budget hotels in Angeles City. I think the Bavarian is another one that gets in that top 5 on the Agoda list. The Pandasal guy. Fresh Pandasal.
Pandasal bread.
Fresh Pandasal. How much, Kuya?
5.
5?
Yeah.
For one? Yeah. Lovely. You can get fresh Pandasal. That is awesome. Those street vendors. Pandasal is a hot steamed bun. Or a hot baked bun. It's basically bread, hot bread. Dip it in your coffee, have it with a morning coffee. It just hits that hunger spot. Okay, we are back at the start of this walk. And can you remember the name of this street? It has the same name as the mountain that overlooks, well, the extinct volcano that overlooks Angeles City. And I can't remember where I put my motorbike. Oh yeah, there it is, the Airblade over there. All right, I'm gonna leave it there for today. I will catch up with you tomorrow.